Now a great sign appeared in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun, with the moon under her feet, and on her head a garland of 12 stars. The Apostle John seems to be describing in Revelation chapter 12 a constellation, what he's seeing in the stars. If we look at a Stellarium constellation program that you can download for free for your computer, we find this image that looks to be exactly what he just described. And what's very amazing is the date of this image, September 23rd, 2017. You see a great sign, Virgo. If you think great sign, there's only 3 great signs. There's Hydra, there's the Great Bear, well, there's Virgo second, and then the Great Bear. So out of those 3, Virgo is the second biggest. So it is a great sign. And then he says a woman. Well, Virgo is a woman, and it's the only sign that's a woman in the whole of all the constellations that the sun and the moon and stars go through. So we have exactly what he's talking about. A great sign. We have the sun here, clothed with the sun, the moon under her feet. Yes, directly under her feet is the moon. Now this, and then it says on her head a garland of 12 stars. We have the constellation Leo, the lion, right above her, and it has 9 stars that are the main description of Leo. There's more stars, but that's the main figures that's recognized as Leo. So you have 9 stars of Leo, and then you got 3 planets, Venus, Mars, and Mercury. That's 12 stars. On her head, a garland of 12 stars. Now this happens every 8 to 12 years. You have a similar configuration where you have the sun in Virgo and the moon, and you have 3 planets above her head. Leo is always there. So that's not totally unusual. It's unusual for Mercury, Mars, and Venus to be evenly spaced. Usually it's all scattered. But what is very unusual is something else that we see. If we look at Jupiter, Jupiter has just made a zigzag motion back and forth inside Virgo over the past 293 days. If we look at what John said next, it's pretty amazing. He says, "Then being with child, she cried out in labor and in pain to give birth." Let's take a look at the motion of Jupiter going into Virgo from 2016 up until September the 23rd, 2017, when John starts Revelation 12. He goes back and forth in Virgo's belly, just like a child that's being born right there. On the 10th, Virgo was born, and only 13 days later, John mentions what he sees. These signs are back to back. This doesn't happen, very, very rare. The next time this will happen will be the year 2100. And Jupiter will make a similar path in Virgo, but it won't be good then, because Saturn will be inside Virgo too, and there won't be 12 stars at her head at that time. So for these 2 instances to line up is highly unlikely, if it ever happens again. Jupiter spent 293 days inside of Virgo, equal to a normal human pregnancy, and then he was born. 13 days later, John mentions this, where he sees the sun, the moon, and the stars, and he describes the birth. So it seems to be exactly what John was talking about in the stars. And these 2 events, as we said, do not, if they ever repeat, I don't think they do. This appears to be the time period he is talking about and he's seeing. And another sign appeared in heaven, Behold, a great fiery red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 diadems on his heads. His tail drew a third of the stars of heaven and threw them to the earth. This sounds just like he's talking about a meteor storm, throwing the stars to the earth. If we look at the constellation Draco, which is the dragon, there is a comet that makes a meteor storm coming from the head or the mouth of the dragon. And it's this 21P Giacobini-Zinner comet. It was discovered on December 20th, 1900 by Michael Giacobini. It was discovered on the 4th day of Hanukkah. Everything about this comet seems to be associated with the Jewish people. It was also in 1900, that was during the first Aliyah, or the ascent into Israel, from 1883 to 1903 about. The first group of Jewish people began to go back to their homeland. So this comet was discovered during that time, on the 4th day of Hanukkah, and he observed it for a couple of months and determined that it had a 6.5 year orbital cycle, and then they lost it. And it wasn't until I think about 1913 that Ernst Zinner rediscovered the comet, and then they found out it was the same comet, and so they added his name to the title, and it became Giacobini-Zinner. The 21P means it's periodic. It's the 21st periodic comet that we've discovered. Halley's is 1P. It's the first periodic. So this comet goes right around the Earth. It orbits all the way to the outside, just right around Jupiter's orbit, and comes back around. What is very fascinating is when we pull up the data from NASA's Horizon database and we look at the close approach data for this comet, and we look in 2018 on September 10th. There are 2 close approaches on the same day. This is not only rare, it's unheard of. The left column with the R, that's the distance to the sun, and then the right hand column is labeled delta, is the distance to the Earth. And you see the close approach to the sun is at 8 a.m. September 10th, and then at 4 p.m. 1600 it makes its closest approach to Earth. 2 different bodies in one day. What is fascinating about September 10th, 2018? Here it is again on a visual of the close approach to the Earth, and then the little red dot is to the sun. Two solar bodies on the exact same day. It makes its closest approach in its entire 6.5 year cycle, and it's coming from left to right. The light blue is its orbit is above the Earth's plane. The dark blue, it goes below. Right where it intersects the Earth's plane, that's where you'll get the meteor storm. And every October 7th through 9th, the Earth passes through that plane, and you have a potential for a meteor storm. But the thing about this comet is there really isn't a meteor storm. There's hardly anything unless the comet is the Earth is right behind the comet. The Earth has to be very close and right behind the comet, or there's nothing. And other comets, they leave so many particles behind, it doesn't have to be close by. But this one, the comet's got to be right there. September the 10th, 2018, when it makes 2 close approaches, just happens to be an appointed time. Yom Teruah, the day of alarm. This is not only one sign, it's 2 signs on an appointed time. There's something up about this comet, something important that's going to be happening in 2018. Let's look at the meteor storm history for this comet. We know it was discovered in 1900, that we didn't have any meteor storms until 1926. It was the first any little meteor shower we've noticed. It wasn't a storm. You look at this chart and you can see the upper right hand corner in the red, bold red. Those are the conditions necessary for this comet to produce a storm. Not just a shower, but a storm. And it's happened twice before. And you see 2018 in bold red because it's going to be in position to do it again. If we look at the time that it did it before in 1933, Hitler had just become chancellor. The first of 2,000 anti-Jewish laws had been passed. Albert Einstein was on his way to the United States as a refugee. And during October, the meteor, the dragon, let loose its first storm ever. This is a modern phenomenon. So John saw the dragon casting the stars. This didn't happen before 1926 at all, and it wasn't even a major one. But what happened in 1933? A curator of the Armagh Observatory in Ireland in 1933, Reverend Ellison, he made this statement. I counted 200 meteors in 2 minutes, and then counting became impossible. The fire stars became as thick as flakes in a snowstorm. Instead of twos and threes, they came in flocks and gusts. The sky was thick with them wherever one looked. These were reported to be light yellow meteors traveling pretty slow at 11 kilometers per second. In contrast, the showers that come from Leo the lion are 72 kilometers per second. So it's a slow meteor coming in, but it's just like it's falling right on you. That was the first time. This happened mainly in Europe. They saw the storm right where the threat was from Hitler, an anti-Jewish threat. And this happened during, guess when? The Jewish appointed time, or God's appointed time of Sukkot, tabernacles. In 1946, we had another occurrence. And again, we're in October 7th through 9th. And this time it was in England, or Europe. It was America that saw the brunt of the storm. Well, Hitler had been defeated. Nuremberg trials were 1 week away. Why is there a storm in 1946? Well, it just so happens it was 2 weeks before the United Nations General Assembly met in New York for the first time. It seems that this comet is the storms indicate the rise of a threatening anti-Jewish power. First it was Hitler, then here it's the United Nations. We have the second storm. So there's only been 2 storms from this comet, but they've been phenomenal. We're set to have one more in 2018. And what's amazing about this, if you see this upper right hand corner, particles have to be behind and inside the comet to produce a storm. If we look at the picture of where the Earth will be, here we have October 9th, 2018, when this storm will occur. The Earth is exactly behind and on the inside of the comet, like on the inside lane of a racetrack, and just right behind the comet. It's perfectly positioned for another storm. What is amazing is this will be the last time that you'll see a storm from the dragon, from this comet, because in 2029 the Earth is going to pass close by.